to look at.
Oh, better mute that. Good evening everyone, Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. Hope you like the new intro music. I've seen some of your comments already. Sounds like a 1970s... 1970s? They didn't have electro in the 1970s, what is wrong with you? Yes, 80s sci-fi TV show. I really wanted some element of what is us, me and Kath. We are children of the 80s, mostly, and yeah, the 80s for us were a pretty good time, especially us tech people. In the 80s we had all sorts of cool things come out. We had the Spectrum from Sinclair, we had the Amstrad CPCs, we had the Commodores in their various versions, the VIC-20, the Commodore 16+4, the Commodore 64 of course, and yeah, things from then have got considerably better, although currently at the moment they're not exactly ideal for a lot of us. What with the ongoing GPU shortages, scalpers, mining, crypto boom, etc, etc. What a nightmare. What an absolute nightmare. But thank you all for joining us on this Saturday. It is Saturday the 15th of May 2021. Where's the year gone? I can't believe it's 15th of May. Here in the UK, it feels like it's kind of just about breaking into spring. We should be absolutely roasting by now. I should be here, tan to hell, burnt to smithereens, not been able to sleep at night because my ass cheeks are too raw. You know what I'm saying. We've all been there. Don't lie. You know, you've all been there at some point or other.
Burnt your cheeks with that thong. That mankini thong.
The mankini is never a good look. Despite what it may show in the catalogues, when you try it on, you think you're all that, and you go out in the garden, your neighbour's like, oh,
you're popping out.
He's gone mad. Yeah, it's not a good look. But fortunately, at the moment, there's no sunshine in the UK, so no need for the mankini. So anyway, hopefully you're all very well this evening. Tonight's stream is going to be slightly off the wall, completely unplanned, unscripted, as pretty much usual. Pretty much like all the videos on the channel, actually, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever written a script in my entire life. At least not one that I've actually followed in any way, shape or form. So we will be answering your comments and questions tonight. This is an interactive broadcast. It is live, so feel free to post your questions. If you do have a question, do me a favour, just so I can see it in the chat, do either at Mike's Unboxing and put a Q at the front of it so I know it's a question and I can quickly zip through and make sure that I'm answering all the questions, because Kath has warned me on many occasions that I'm just skipping through the comments and questions and not answering you all. So far be it from me to ignore any one of you, although some of you I may choose to ignore because it's a way too difficult question, I just don't know the answer and I'll pretend I never saw the question. Anyway, moving on. So, like I said, hopefully you're all having a good Saturday evening. Hopefully you're all wet. Hopefully you're all...
Did you say wet?
Yeah, I don't know why I said wet. Reminding me of my tea.
Who's Emperor Palpatine?
Kath just asked me, ladies and gentlemen.
But Captain Meat says he thinks you look like.
Kath asked me who is Emperor Palpatine. In some households, that would be cause for a divorce. I really do know that. All right, let's have a quick. Kath, who do you think possibly Emperor Palpatine is?
No idea. Never heard.
Let's say that it's a character from popular culture, from a movie series which spans from the 70s to the present day and has got a massive global following.
Star Wars.
Yes. Star Wars.
Never watched it.
Emperor Palpatine is the baddie.
Oh, I wouldn't know that, would I?
He is basically Darth Vader's dad.
All I know is Shrek.
Kind of. Shrek?
That I used to tell George was Shrek in Lego magazine.
Greedo?
Might be.
No, Gamorrean guards.
I don't know.
Which one's Shrek? In Star Wars?
I don't know. He had a Star Wars Lego magazine and I
Help
read it
me.
to him every night.
Help me, Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We had a super chat sticker come in from Hugh W with 99 cents and a smiley face. It doesn't set the RGB off, I'm afraid. Stickers do not do that. I don't know what it is. There's something with the algorithm. YouTube, you suck badly. Please don't demonetize me. Thank you very much, Hugh. We appreciate that. Matthew Day got rained on today. Let's say hello to everybody, because I'm such a rude swine at times. So, Ugly Bob's with us. Obviously, Ugly Bob. And First as well. Congratulations. Ugly Adder. Ghost Adder is also with us. Skystalker. Who else we got? Richard. It says 9:30, highly irregular. Yes, today, unfortunately, my unscrupulous boss, not Kath, the other unscrupulous boss from my kind of day job, said, can you do a Saturday rather than a Sunday? And I figured, that's not such a bad idea, because that way I can stay up late tonight, maybe have a few beverages and not have to worry about getting up on Sunday morning, as I always generally do. But I didn't realise getting up so early on a Saturday morning and then doing a live stream late at night was going to be so tiring. So luckily I've stocked up on carbohydrates and various Indian-based produce, and I'm ready to go, raring to go. If only I had a graphics card to build a system in, that would really be sealing the deal on today. It really would. Anyway, so Richard's with us, as we said. We've got Kieran Atkinson. Hello, Kieran. I read that wrong then. It says, Sarah's blasting some really crap music. I thought you meant our music. How very dare you. Our music is moderately good, I think. I actually like it. I like it a lot. Jad2016 says hello. Yeah, it does actually. The more you hear it, our signature theme tune, however you want to say it.
Nothing wrong with it the first time, but it does keep getting better.
The more you hear it, the better it gets. I love it. I really do. It energises me. I feel it's got a real good vibe to it. And at least now I'm not copying Technical Guruji and who was the other one? Content Cop. So finally, hopefully, I'll be able to stop those typical things in the comment section on YouTube saying, Technical Guruji copy.
You stole
or
this.
You stole this music. No, no, no. This is no longer a thing, my friends. Glenn's with us, says, evening all, streams on, but I'll be buzzing around and listening. It's probably for the best, because it's you have to see this otherwise, and you don't really want to see that. Although later on we will be doing an unboxing. Dun, dun, dun. Imagine that, on an unboxing channel, doing an unboxing. Who would have thought it? We have got a budget case from Aerocool. Well, technically it's from Ugly Bob, but it's also made by Aerocool. But thank you to Ugly Bob, he sent it to us. This is a super, super cheap case, which we found on a UK hot deal, available from Amazon in the UK. Might be able to put some links up for that in the chat a little bit later, but it's the Aerocool Split, I believe it's called. Yes, not a very nice name for a case, is it? The Split. Sounds like something which would happen, yeah, which would possibly put you in a hospital.
But
so it's the Split RGB. Unfortunately, Maisie, our beloved cat, is currently very much sleeping on it. So we may have to wake up her stupid ass to gain access to said case.
we could.
Kath's actually lifting the case up. This is the closest Kath's got to doing an unboxing, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. There is the hands of Kath and the cats of Kath. Hey, Mabes.
Got to make sure my head don't go in.
She doesn't want her head in the shot. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. So we'll be doing an unboxing on that a little bit later. Take a look at it.
Shadow.
You did. I got a bit of a 5 o'clock shadow going on. Mail says, right now PC gaming is for the elite and not for us bottom feeders. I hate to disagree, but actually no, I can't. You're right. PC gaming at the moment does appear to be somewhat of a elitist group. If you've got the money and the ability to get yourself a top-notch graphics card, or you're just super fast on the refresh button on your browser, actually getting a top-end system at the moment is one of those things where you are in the elite. You really are. It used to be any Joe Blogs could go down to the local store or order on Amazon online store, and you could pick yourself up a 1080, for instance, and there was a lot of them around. They were super popular, relatively easy to get hold of, and not a crazy, crazy price considering how things have changed in the last 4 or 5 years. It is insane. We also got William Bodie says, hello all of you from North Germany. Guten Abend, William. See, German. I said on my application forms for jobs that I applied, I said I was actually, yeah, that's a curriculum vitae, or CV as it's otherwise known, or a, what do the Americans call a CV? They call it something else, don't they?
Resume.
Resume. My resume. a resume. Whereas normally on a video, a VHS video, that would be the resume button would be the play button, or play pause, resume. Anyway, confusing. So yeah, on my CV I used to always put that I was fluent in English, debatable, French, laughable, German, not really, and what else? I think I put another language, didn't I, for a laugh? Was it Australian or something? I think I did.
Not that I know.
I speak 5 languages: English, American, Australian, English Canadian, and English African. Semi-fluently across the lot. John Sullivan also says hi guys, and girls obviously, and various other pronouns are available. Ricardo says hi Mike, Kath, admins and everyone. Oh, Ricardo's just being super inclusive there. Paul Bakewell's with us, says evening all. William Bodie, the bringer of bad news, says the new virus versions, I think that in September it's going to be an even harder lockdown. I thought you meant virus versions about PC. I was thinking there's going to be some new malware going around, but no, you're on about the human malware. Got it. Well, that's a cheery thing. Nice one, Will. Let's just end the stream there. That's it. We've had enough. Ricardo says, I feel back in 1995. I remember 1995. That was a fantastic year. Well.
It's the last year you were single.
Yeah, the last year I was single.
Well, you weren't single, you weren't married.
I was untethered.
Unmarried. Married Michael.
I was wireless and free.
You weren't free.
Well, I wasn't free. I was just wireless. And I had hair. 1995, when having a home PC was a luxury. The guy with the compact PC at home was rich, and tell the one who owns IBM back then. I get what you mean. Yeah, back in the days when you'd spend possibly £1,500 on a premium desktop PC, which would come in the box with a 17-inch CRT monitor and probably a bundled Epson expression printer, which very rarely worked, or maybe even had a parallel port connection. And if you had a scanner as well, you'd have to plug in the printer to the scanner, and the scanner would go to the PC, and oh, that's making the hair stand up on the back of my neck just thinking about that. Parallel port printing and scanning. Those were the days. They really were.
But you're going to start singing then.
Those were the days, my friends. I'm glad they finally ended. Oh dear, sorry about that, I do apologise. Ricardo says also, I had my first PC in 2001, 20 years ago. Guys, 20 years ago. 2001, 20 years ago.
And there's angels.
Jesus H. Corbett, that is extreme, isn't it? It's so terrifying.
That's why she was 20 this year.
In 2001, well no, in 1995, we assumed that in 2001 we'd have jetpacks and flying cars.
And hover boots.
And hover boots, and that never happened. Damn you, Back to the Future.
And we still got
Lies.
our own shoes.
All lies, yeah. And I have to tie my own shoes. Although I could probably ask Kath to do it. I have done on occasion, to be fair. William says, I know what I'll do. I'll just shut up and start drinking Johnny Blonde with cola. Yeah, I think that's a much more admirable way forward. Danielle says, PCs are cheap compared with what a friend of mine paid for his MSI 8080 kit. Or is that supposed to be IMSAI? I don't know. Whatever it is. 8080 kit back in the 70s. Bare boards, components in a case. Yeah, that reminds me very much of the film not Bill Gates, the other one. Who's the other one? The dead one. Apple guy. What's his name? Steve Jobs. That's the bloke. That's the badger. Steve Jobs, yeah, only one of the most famous people in history. What's his name? Oh yeah, Steve. Yeah, it's a difficult one to remember, that one. Yes, that reminds me of that film when they were sticking all the chips together and doing real geeky stuff. And you think then, what did they start? It really did start a snowball. Let's have a scroll through. So who else we got? William Bodie, who said that. Matthew Day. What's Matthew Day going to be eating tonight? This is the question that is on everybody's lips right now. So tonight I shall be eating a microwave beef whatever. Good choice. was 75% off. We like that here at Mike's Unboxing. A bargain is always a bargain. And lamenting the bad luck of a password-locked BIOS that I should have checked earlier. Oh, password-checked BIOSes. Some people are just bastards. Why would you put a password on a BIOS? That's just horrid. Just
Let's do it.
Yeah, enter password now. Mickey Early says, evening everyone. Good evening. Skystalker we've said. Ugly Bob. Blah, blah, blah. I think I've said everyone. I think I've said them. Hayden Trent. I'm on a fresh Windows 10 install on a new SSD. Let me go buy a key. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to buy a Windows key, clearly you know where to get it from. premiumcdkeys.com/Mike's Unboxing, and you will save a fortune against those other key sellers online and ones that you may have seen in some other YouTubers' videos, which, yes, I probably shouldn't get into that because I will start venting my spleen. I do disagree vehemently. I think that was a word. Is that a word? Or have I just made that up?
I don't know, I make up words.
Might be a word. Might be a new word. I strongly disagree with those other CD keys. And if you've bought from premiumcdkeys.com before, you'll know exactly why. Because they are bloody good.
For a £5.
And for around about a £5. You can't go wrong for that. You really can't. Ricardo says, no intro music? Sad. So very, very sad. Oh, okay. Oh no, I think I did it later, didn't I? Taylor says, I haven't looked on sites for GPUs for a month or so. Look today, even worse than before. Do you know what? Today was one of those days. Now, for those of you that are regular viewers, you'll know that I built a PC, Ryzen 3 3100, a little budget PC, nothing out of the ordinary, and I put it on Facebook Marketplace. I think it was in the region of about £380 possibly. It essentially, I put it on for what it cost me, minus a little bit, just to show willing, just to get rid of the thing. And still, people messaging me, is it still available? Yeah, that's why it's still on the site. So then you reply, as you do, yes, still available. And that's it, you don't get a reply. Why is that?
What's C McKnight written like?
Don't get it. Don't understand it. But anyway, the PC has got a graphics card in it. Yes, I know it's a rarity, but it does actually have one. It's not a particularly exciting one. It's a Radeon, well, it's actually an Asus Radeon RX 460 2GB. So, in terms of excitement factor, it's kind of not even semi-rousing. It's pretty awful, but it is a graphics card nonetheless. So if someone messages me and says, Mike, would you consider selling the GPU on its own? And I thought to myself, well, I've actually got the GTX 660 3GB behind me, which I could put in the PC and it'll probably sell straight away then. So I thought, okay. I answered back saying, yes, I could sell it. It'll be about £65 thereabouts. That's what I paid for it. Still under warranty from CEX, got a 2-year warranty. Basically, I unboxed it, put it in the PC, tested it, made sure it works, and that's it. I haven't touched it since. So effectively, it's almost unused from getting it from CEX. So I thought, well, yeah, I think I paid £68 for it. So I said 65 just to round it down because I couldn't remember off the top of my head at the time. And they reply, would you take 50? Sometimes I do realise that not everybody is aware of what is going on in the world at the moment. I get that. I totally get it. But when you start offering someone money for a graphics card that is way below what they've already said they'll want for it, it's a little bit naughty, isn't it? Now, we all want a bargain, and we all know, stick a lowball price in, you never know, someone might pick it up. You might get lucky. Someone might turn around and not know the value or not give a damn and just want to get rid of it and go, yeah, okay, fine. But I'm not that person. That is not me today. Definitely not. I've had a day at work, not happening. So I thought what I'll do is I'll take a look on CEX and actually see what the price is currently. Because I only bought it, I think it was less than a month ago. I'm not even sure when the video went out, but it was less than a month ago, I'm sure it was. And I paid, I think, £65 plus £1 something for next day postage. So £68, give or take. It's already gone up £5, it's £70 already. And that is for basically a non-branded one, like a real OEM one. If you want the 4 gig version, it's closer to £100. This is for an RX 460. So things are, despite what we want to believe, things seem to be getting worse. They are definitely getting worse. And my real question is, and what the kind of the thought process behind tonight's stream is, and the questions I want to ask you, and I want to get your opinions on. I want to know what you are thinking. If you're thinking the same as me, I try and be optimistic. I genuinely do. But at the moment, my pessimism levels are kind of up here somewhere. My optimism levels are down there somewhere. I really want something to happen in the industry. I would love dearly for there to be a crypto crash. I know that's a terrible thing to say, and a lot of people stand to lose a lot of money. I understand that. But for the greater good, slight reference to a certain film there, for those who don't know, but for the greater good of the PC gaming industry, something needs to happen, and it needs to happen quickly. It really does. There's a lot of frustrated people out there, me included. I don't need a graphics card, but I want a graphics card. I want to pry my wallet open and squeeze out that credit card or some actual pound notes, go to a shop and buy the latest and greatest graphics card with 25,000 megabytes of RAM on it. I want to do that. I don't need it, but I want to do it. And I'm sure there's many of you out there that are watching this that are thinking to yourselves exactly the same thing. I want a graphics card. I don't need one, but the fact that I can't get one makes me want it even more. That's the kind of people we are as human beings. If you can't have something, that makes you want it even more. It's like when someone says, don't press the red button. You need to press the red button. And if you don't press the red button, it's like that unscratchable itch which just drives you slowly insane. And ever since April or May of last year, thereabouts, we've seen month after month after month of price increases for components, shortages. It's been a year. It really has been a year.
It's been 18 months.
Closer to 18 months in some cases for some things. Webcams and that obviously went absolutely bananas. They are starting to come down to semi-normal prices. Graphics cards, I can't see it happening. Already we're hearing that manufacturers and end users and big companies are placing orders for graphics cards which haven't been built yet. They're literally buying stuff based on the amount of chips which are being produced by AMD or Nvidia. Pre-orders for stuff that won't be even on the shelves for another 6 months possibly. Which I can't see things getting better. So we need a shining knight to come forth out of the darkness, hailing with its graphics cards aplenty for all of us. But even then, you know what's going to happen? Even if Intel turned around tomorrow, well, not tomorrow because it's Sunday, but Monday, if they turn around and released an absolute metric shit ton of graphics cards on the consumer market, you know what's going to happen straight away.
No shipping containers.
There will be an absolute gold rush, and everyone will be squabbling over the graphics cards. Even if there's not been a single review on the internet, you would purely go on price alone, specs, and go, I don't care, I just need a graphics card, I want it. And the price, you know, the recommended retail price within a matter of hours is going to possibly double if there is a quantity of graphics cards available. There'll be that mad hype, and scalpers will be in there, they'll be buying them, sticking them straight on eBay. Then people will go on eBay and pay these ridiculous prices just so they don't have to wait another 5, 6, 12 months for a graphics card. So I cannot see this ending unless crypto suddenly goes off GPUs. Now we've already seen, at least for some of us, 4 gig GPUs are starting to become available in limited resources. Now and then, some of the miners who just find they cannot mine on 4 gig cards now, or it's not profitable to do so, those cards are starting to hit the market. But generally, they're ex-mined cards, so you don't know the real history of them, and obviously warranties, etc., etc. And still, you're paying scalper prices for ex-mined cards. So you've got the compounded scalping and mining. Beforehand, it wasn't too bad because you'd either have a sculpt card or you'd have an X-mined card. Whereas now, because there's such a shortage, you've got a mine and sculpt card. Double bubble. Absolute insanity. So I would love for there to be something to happen in the crypto markets. We know about Chia, which is based on hard disk drives and SSDs predominantly. If there does tend to be a big shift away from crypto on the kind of like Bitcoin and Ethereum mining type of format, or whatever you want to call it, the platform, if it does move across, although it doesn't seem like it is, Chia was going to be that kind of knight in shining armor that would help us, but it looks, from what I can see at the moment, from its initial kind of price opening, it dipped very badly straight away. It did have a little bit of a pickup, but it doesn't seem to have had that effect that some of us hoped it would have. So Chia isn't going to be the answer to our problems. Intel could be the answer to our problems, but that may be short-lived depending on how many semiconductors they can produce. Being they're not selling particularly many processors, so there may be a little bit more silicon to go around, but at the moment it's all completely unknown. It really is. And it's getting frustrating. It really is getting frustrating. We are getting excited at the moment. Well, I speak for myself, but I imagine there's others of you out there. In our Discord, there is a bargains room, and I do keep an eye on it quite frequently. And when someone posts on there, or even posts in a private room, just so that some of the admins and mods can kind of have a look in first, that there's some new 7870s or 660 Ti's going on CEX, you know that something is desperately, desperately wrong with the market. And for the person who posted that, thank you very much, we do appreciate it. I passed on that one, primarily because I've got 2 crap graphics cards already. Do I need a third at the moment? I don't think I actually do. So, what is going to happen? At the moment, all of our hopes are going to be pinned on crypto going tits up. That is essentially where it's coming from. Now, we have actually seen in the last week slight glimmer of light along that line. So Tesla have now withdrawn their ability to take Bitcoin payments for new Tesla cars. Granted, that is going to be a very, very small percentage of users that are going to actually take benefit of that. But that has a massive impact on the rest of the industry, because people look at companies like Tesla, all those big names, to see what they're doing. So if, for some reason, Elon decides that he's not overly keen on taking Bitcoin payments for whatever reason it is, I haven't read into it fully, so I don't know the actual reason for it, but if someone with that kind of presence on multiple social platforms and in the business community gets a little bit of itchy feet or kind of steps back a little bit from Bitcoin for a moment, the rest of the market has that effect. And there has been a slight drop across the board on lots of cryptocurrencies, which some people now, they've had best part of a year or so where they've been mining from these cards. Hopefully the people that have spent maybe, I don't know, 60, 70,000 pounds worth on graphics cards and have got a proper mining farm, they're the people now that are probably going to be getting slightly itchy feet and thinking, I've got a lot of money tied up here, I've earned some money, they may have broken even, they may have profited heavily. Those are the people that we are going to be looking at to get itchy feet and to jump out and then put that stuff on the market. It is going to happen. I don't know when. I'm hoping it's soon because things are getting pretty bad. But that is what we've got our hopes pinned on. So at the moment, Intel, AMD, I think you can count out of the race altogether. I can't see them producing anything in any great numbers. Nvidia are going to be doing exactly the same. There's going to be very, very small batches of stock released. So yeah, that leaves us with the crypto bubble to burst, which for those of you invested in crypto, I do apologise, but I think we all definitely need it. So on that, I'm going to have a look, see what your comments are in the chat and see what people have been saying. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm a bad person for saying that crypto bubble should burst, or would be beneficial to us that would burst? I'm thinking of the community, and I'm thinking of also making videos. Making videos at the moment in the tech industry is difficult. Look at some of the videos that some of the other YouTubers are putting out. There's some that are basically doing pretty much most videos on how to clean a PC.
Coming soon.
Coming soon on this channel. Stay tuned. Cav's PC is like an absolute pigsty. Literally, I could grow potatoes in that. Potatoes! In that PC. It's filthy. But anyway.
But it's organic.
It's organic waste, so it's alright. Mostly fingernails and boogers, but... Okay, let's have a look. Let's see what people are saying. Oh, Gary says, Mike's unboxing reviews and how-to. That's me. What is that on the desk to your left? That is almost like someone's conveniently put some Bluetooth speakers on my desk. Actually, no, I've been testing these out for Mila. Or Milai. Milai? Little Bluetooth speakers. And you can pair them together to make stereo sounds. They're very good. I like them. And actually, they're one of the very few, if the only, MagSafe Bluetooth speaker. So if you've got a MagSafe device, such as an iPhone, you can attach it to the back and it works as a stand, so you can watch your movies and use it as a Bluetooth speaker at the same time. And it comes with magnetic rings as well, so you can stick it in the kitchen, bedside, whatever. Pretty decent. What's that? Kath's being rude, I think. There you go. Ugly Bob says, Q, has Kath got her new kitten yet? No. She's still got the old ones. Matthew Day got rained on. Alexa says, hello everybody. If only she knew the power of the dark side.
They're not kittens, they're 9 years old as the youngest.
Darren C brings up a good point actually as well, which is kind of going to compound things a little bit as well. There is, basically DDR5 is going to be out late summer. We know this. This is a thing. It's already in the Quality Labs testing for AMD and Intel platforms at the moment. So yeah, don't be surprised if you start seeing DDR4 quickly plummet in price. It would be nice if it happened. As it did with DDR3, just before DDR4 became mainstream, DDR3 prices absolutely fell through the floor. £25 for 8 gigs was commonplace pretty much everywhere. So we can expect to see that as well with processors. If AMD decides to release AM5 with DDR5, which again, I don't know for sure, I don't think anybody really does at the moment because it's a crazy world we live in, expect to see AMD and Intel processors reduced in price heavily, especially in the next 2 months. Look for reductions, which is another reason why I think personally that there hasn't been that many processors on the market. It's been very, very sporadic shipments. The shipping containers getting stuck didn't help. All of that backlog, etc., that doesn't help. The shipping container prices, etc. The fact that in the back of most of the manufacturers' minds, AM5 and Intel's next socket, whatever it is, whether it's socket 13 million or whatever, in the background, that is kind of thing. They're like, well, do we invest a ton of money on these existing platforms which are going to be not obsolete, because they won't be, they'll still be going for donkeys. There's a lot of people out there, some of you possibly in the chat right now, who are maybe using DDR2 even. I know there's some of you out there using DDR3, so we've gone a full cycle and the next one is about to come out and there's still people using the previous stuff. So DDR4, AM4 and Intel LGA 1200 and possibly the 115X stuff is still going to be around, but manufacturers aren't going to concentrate on those boards and those chips if there's new stuff coming out, especially when they're trying to recoup money that they've lost this year because either they can't sell enough or they haven't had enough to sell, all those kinds of things. It's, yeah. Hayden Trent says, the E5800 with DDR2 is king. No, it still isn't. It wasn't yesterday and it still isn't today. The Pentium E5800 is basically suitable for making key rings out of. I'm only joking. Yes, that is another point as well. Ricardo says Intel is planning the ATX 12VO standard, which if you're looking at PSU prices recently, PSU prices have been plummeting as well. We've seen plenty of deals coming out last week, which we talked about on the stream, the EVGA power supply picked up. There's also the Cooler Master ones, so we're going to start seeing it. There are going to be more and more offers, especially if 12VXO or 12VO or whatever the new ATX standard is going to be called. If that is going to be a thing, all these kind of moderate to medium or high-end gamers who can upgrade just because they want to, you're going to see a lot of this stuff on the market second-hand, the good stuff. So it's going to drive prices down. We know that's going to happen. It happens every time. Look at AM3 with AM3 Plus with the FX 8350, 8300s, 6300s. As soon as AM4 came out, those prices for that just dropped almost overnight. Darren C says, I remember DDR5 is approximately 2 times more expensive to produce than DDR4, and I would probably guarantee that it isn't going to be 2 times faster. But PC enthusiasts are no stranger to this. Who else have I missed anyone's question? Shrixon says, I've been using an AeroCool Cylon 700 watts since December, and it's only 32 quid. Yeah, the AeroCool Cylons, I really do like those. I know I get a lot of stick about it, especially in the comments. Oh, you can't use this, it's cheap rubbish, blah, 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 blah. I had this conversation with somebody in the YouTube comments, and we were disagreeing about the Cooler Master power supply, which I reviewed recently. Now, I was saying that it's a pretty decent power supply. Yes, it's not the best on the market, but certainly it's a gold rated, it's Cooler Master, it's 550 watt or 600 watt or whatever it was, modular, etc, etc. It's not going to be crap. It's not a fire starter. And then we kind of got onto the thing of, all right, it's not as good as XYZ other power supplies, but even saying that, I've used some absolute dog crap power supplies in the past. Literal, like, most people would not touch them. I'll quickly stop there. Lil Bullet, £5 super chat. Says, if you had a Ryzen 7 and 300 to spend, what motherboard would you buy? No this or that, you must commit to one choice. If I had a Ryzen 7 and £300 to spend, what motherboard? Is that £300 just for the motherboard? For a Ryzen 7? And you haven't said which Ryzen 7 it is. Clarify the question and I will answer it with a definitive answer. Thank you for the super chat. Yeah, so talking about the power supply. So yeah, I've used some really, really bad power supplies. Some of the ones from the original CIT before they were CIT, so they were Colors IT, many, many years ago, like early 2000s. And I would use maybe a 500 watt CIT power supply, which wasn't even bronze or gold rated because they didn't have those ratings back then. And I would buy, well, I wouldn't buy, I would be servicing PCs, both in businesses, homes, offices, blah, 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 etc, etc. And I'd put those CIT power supplies in servers that actually supported an entire business in one server with one of those power supplies, and the power supply lasted longer than the business. And that happened on numerous occasions. I've actually built PCs with those crappy Colors IT power supplies back in 2002, 2003, and I know for a fact that some of those PCs are still running to this very day on those power supplies. So when you say power supplies are crap, they're fire starters, etc, etc, that's fine, you can say that, but unless you've actually bought one of those power supplies and actually had it blow up on you in a PC of your own or one you've been working on, you can't just regurgitate what other people say on the internet. Everyone's got their opinion, which you're totally entitled to. But
it's not right if you don't agree.
Yeah, but if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? You can't, people regurgitate stuff they hear on the internet all the time. I'm guilty of it, I do it now and then if I don't know the full facts. But I'm quite happy to be put wrong, put right, put wrong. You know, one of those two. You know what I'm saying? Cat's waving her hand. Are you having some kind of fit?
Clifton, no, Little Bullet said yes. Little
Bullet said, oh right, okay. Little Bullet's question. Let's answer that one. I did see some of your comments above that, so I'm going to have a look. Yes. What? Which Ryzen 7 is it? if you had a Ryzen 7, I might be stupid, it's likely. If you had a Ryzen 7 and £300 to spend, what motherboard would you buy? Yeah, is that including the Ryzen 7? Or have you got the Ryzen 7? And if you have, which Ryzen 7 is it? These are things I need to know. It does make a difference. So, yeah, back to the power supply. I hate to harp on about this all the time, but it's a reality. Now, I've built, I would say, in my time in the PC business, both on this channel, working for other private companies and working for myself, etc. I think I've probably built at least 500 PCs, if not more. I would say I probably built about 500 and I've probably repaired probably the same amount, if not more. Being conservative, I would say that is. And in that entire time, I think I've only ever seen a power supply go actually bang probably 2 or 3 times. One overheated and got to the point where smoke was coming out. I would have thought if PC power supplies were that bad, and back in the early 2000s, pretty much everything on the market was cheap crap. It really was. Like imported Chinese power supplies which were not gold rated or anything like that. So I would think just by averages, law of averages, I would have seen way, way more power supplies go bang. And I honestly haven't. I would have to say yes, that's true. Cheap power supplies, avoid them like the plague. They're the scourge of the world, don't trust one. But I haven't had that experience. And that is what ultimately is going to guide you, your own personal experience, and also what you hear on the internet, or from friends, or from whatever. But unless you've actually done it, or you know 100% that the person is telling you accurate information, don't always believe it. It isn't always the truth. It's basically people regurgitating facts, which is fine. But anyway, I'm going to get off my high horse now. I'm really passionate about that because I love saving money. That is what this channel is essentially trying to be all about, is getting value for money. So spending an absolute shit ton of money on a power supply, if it makes you feel happy and it comes with loads of cables and you're happy with your purchase and it's got a long warranty, fantastic. I'm really happy that you've done that. But don't go around saying to everybody that you have to do that to get a good power supply, because you don't. You honestly don't. And when you see people like Gamers Nexus, for instance, or any of those larger channels which they have their test bench and they get a power supply up to a certain temperature, those are stress tests. They're not real world. Real world is the stuff that people like, I hate to say it, Kerry Holzman and other people like that who've actually been in the business, done repairs and go out to companies and stuff. That's real world. Real world usage is what you see in the real world, not a test where you're putting as much load on a power supply until it dies, because that isn't realistic. We don't do that. Generally, that isn't done. I'm okay. Yes, Kath.
Audio asks, can they send you a link to the pre-build and can you give your opinion?
You can do, not on here, do it on the Discord.
He's already said he will.
Aletta backing me up. Thank you, Aletta. Aletta, the voice of reason. Now, that's something which doesn't get said that often, but I'm saying it. Aletta says, I've built over 360 gaming PCs and only seen 2 PSUs go bang. There we go. So let's put that into percentage. That is, my math isn't great. That's like 1%. Is that 1%? Yes, 1%. 1%. That is... And you haven't actually said if 2 of those power supplies have gone bang, whether they were good ones or cheap ones. I would imagine possibly one of those was a decent one, or a seemingly decent one. Carl the Jackal says, I've only ever had 2 PSUs fail, one of which did not start smoking badly. They were both Antec. Okay. Antec did have a little bit of a thing at one time where they had, I think there was actually some batches out which had capacitors that they bought which were not as they were intended, or not rated for what they were supposed to be. I vaguely remember that in the mid-2000s, possibly. There was a recall on them, I think, in one country.
Is Kerry still on coke?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Where's did they come back with an answer? Lil Bullet?
Didn't see any more.
Lil Bullet, come on. hit me up with some facts and I'll give you some answers, which you may or may not like. Gus Mortimer says, good evening, Mike. How you doing? And hello to Mitch as well. And Neil Walker. WTech says, I had a €200 Seasonic blow up on me after like 1 week. This can always happen. It does. It doesn't matter if it's a £20 PSU, £200 PSU. The potential is there on all electrical components. On that first time you fire it up, that it goes pop. It happens. Dutch Jan says, soon Games Nexus net power supply blast. The reason I said that is because they did actually buy a load of power supplies to do testing on, and some of them blown up already. I think a Gigabyte 850 watt was one of the ones which did already. So yeah, it just goes to show it doesn't matter if it's a cheap one or not. Lil Bullet says, not got it yet, so you pick the Ryzen 7. So Ryzen 7 and a motherboard for 300 quid. That's not going to be easy. And who was the super chat from? Why does it not say? Oh, Lil Bullet. Thing is, I'm lost and not got a clue what to buy, so you pick the Ryzen 7 too. Oh God. If you've got £300 and you've got to get a Ryzen 7 and a motherboard, you're going to have to get a 2700X, which should cost you about £150, £160. Then that leaves you a good £100, £150 for a motherboard. So I don't think you're going to get a 3000 series Ryzen 7 for less than about £250, I want to say. So if you went with that, it would be a better processor, but then you're looking at like a 50 or 60 quid motherboard. That's tough. That is tough. Oh, Lil Bullet says, no, 300 quid for the motherboard. Oh, right, 300 quid for the motherboard. I wouldn't spend 300 quid on a motherboard, to be completely honest with you. I would probably go with possibly the MSI X570 Tomahawk, which I would say arguably is one of the better X570 boards for the money. You could probably go higher than that. I don't... Possibly the Unify, the B570 Unify. Sorry, don't get the B550 Unify. Get the X570 Unify. That is a really good board. Other than that, it's... yeah.
You could join Discord.
Join our Discord and we'll go through it in great detail and work out exactly what is going to be best for you. Or pop me an email, mike@mikesunboxing.com, and I will definitely spend some time going through it with you. If you're a complete newbie and you're not sure, then rather than just say bleh and give you an answer and then possibly you regret the purchase after and then me feel bad about it, I would much rather take you through it step by step, look at the options, look at the rest of your components, and get you a nice balanced PC which is going to be, well, good value for you. And also, I don't think you're going to need to spend 300 quid on a motherboard. I really don't. 100 to 150 pounds on a motherboard these days, you get a lot for your money. And if it's a Ryzen 7, even a Ryzen 9, there's very few of those boards in that kind of price range which are going to cause you any issues. You've got things like the Asus X570 Tough Gaming, which is handily just here. Tough Gaming Plus, excellent board, very good value for money, about 150. The original versions had issues with the BIOS where the memory wasn't particularly compatible, but recent BIOSes, flawless board, absolutely flawless. Barb says, buy Dogecoin. Okay. Aletta says, I looked at the Tomahawk, didn't really like it. It's horses for courses. It's not, there's nothing outrageously good with the Tomahawk, but VRM-wise, it's got a really good VRM solution on it, which seems to be a common trait of the Tomahawk. The Tomahawk generally is the cut-down version of the gaming Carbon. And the gaming Carbon is generally towards the top end of that kind of mainstream board. Anyway, moving on.
We'll just put that PC in Discord.
All right, Waldo, I'll take a look at what else have I done? Geordie LaForgery says, the only thing I've found with cheaper PSUs is the fans on them run louder. PS, if anyone wants a fun game, check out Huntdown. Okay. Yeah, I would strongly agree with what Geordie's saying there. That is definitely a downside of some of the cheaper power supplies on the market. Often, one of the easiest ways for the company to save money on the actual design is to use a crap fan in there. Or not a crap fan, but a less good fan, for want of a better word. So if you wanted a decent fan in there, you'd get one with a fluid dynamic bearing. Quite often you'll get ones with sleeve bearings in. Now, if you're using a sleeve bearing, which is what a lot of fans used to be, they're fine when they're in the vertical position, but any sleeve bearing, as soon as you put it into the horizontal, because it's pulling down, you get a wobble. And that is where you get your noise generation. So when the fan ramps up or ramps down, it puts a little bit of wobble on the axis, and because the actual pin going through the bearing is just in a sleeve metal bearing, it kind of wobbles a little bit. That looks disgusting. I'm going to stop doing that.
What were you doing?
I was doing that. Yes, so that is where they save money. And yes, sleeve bearing, I've actually got it in my PC at the moment. The up here fans, even though the up here fans state that they're a fluid dynamic bearing, they're not. Clearly not. Because I've got one mounted in my PC in the horizontal on the top, and there's definitely a little click from it where it's not quite centralized. All the rest of the fans in the PC are all mounted vertically and they're absolutely fine. But the one that's mounted horizontally is making a noise. So if you are putting a radiator in your PC or top mounted fans and you've got them horizontal, go for a more expensive fan. It will sound and last a lot longer. Anyway, there we go. Markovsky says, I'd rather have a 3600 than a 2700. Yeah, yeah. I was going to think of something to say there, but no. It's that's fine. Just agree. Mitch says, that's the board I have now. After about 20 BIOS updates, it's running great now. Is that the X570 Tough Gaming? It is. They've got to a point now where the BIOS has matured exceptionally well. If only I could say the same for the Armory Crate software, which is an absolute abomination. It actually works okay, but you try uninstalling the bloody stuff. Almost impossible to uninstall. Absolutely insane. Why is that ASUS software is generally so bad? They make some really, really good stuff, but the software side of it is absolutely horrendous. Clinton says, I've only had one bad PSU. It was a Evo 400 watt and it smoked for about 30 seconds, then stopped. But the PC carried on working fine. I carried on using thereafter for about a year, lol. Dear. Born Envy, what budget GPU would you recommend today? It would have to be a second-hand one, and I would say it's got to be something like the that one behind me. GeForce GTX 660 or 660 Ti. This is a 3 gig version. You can pick them up for about £65–70, which in today's market is probably about the best deal you're going to get. I wish I could offer you something better, but realistically on the used market, everything is crazy. If you go for anything which is 4 gigs or above, they are in demand. So you get like 1050 Ti's going for 150 quid, which is just insane. That was their launch price. And even then, they weren't launched at a particularly good price. Oh, Maisie is having a puke. Good, nice one. All over calf shoes. Next, Ricardo says, next upgrade for my PC is the Arctic P12 PWM PST Value Pack. Those are good fans. Darren C says, no such thing as a budget GPU anymore. No. Sadly, a harsh reality of modern life is GPUs and budget, the word do not go together. I'm really intrigued to see what Intel bring to the table. I really am. Am I on my own on that? Saying that I'm looking forward to seeing what Intel bring out graphics card wise. I think it'd be nice just to see something a little bit different. Sorry, just reading some of your comments here. It's good. Born Nvme says, I have the Radeon 570. I actually missed my Radeon 570. That was a great little card. And in hindsight now, I should have never sold it. Mitch says, my X570 Asus Gaming and Wi-Fi, oh, that's tough Wi-Fi, would not let me run my memory at 3200 consistently. It would not boot sometimes since last BIOS update about 3 months ago, not a problem. Yeah, mine's been, mine was running on DDR4 3600 at CL18 after the initial glitch all the way through until present day pretty much. Wildlife Snapper 1 says, g'day, there is also a world shortage of semiconductors as well. Car manufacturers unable to install sat-nav in new models, flight simmers unable to get hold of throttle quadrants. Yeah, the semiconductor industry is pooped. And Taiwan, I don't think, are doing very well at the moment. And being that that is where TSMC is based, Taiwan, and pretty much most of your components, if you look in your PC, most of it is either designed or built in Taiwan. So, yeah, not so good. Darren C, my friend had to use a GT 710 because his 1070 burnt out. Oh my goodness. Darren also says, I'm with you there, Mike, on Intel. Yeah, I would generally like Intel to come through and deliver it doesn't even have to be a beating graphics card. It'd be nice if they could compete with Nvidia or AMD on a similar level at a similar price. I think they'd still sell by the bucket load. I'd buy one. I would actually, if Intel released a graphics card and they did a unified driver which worked with the graphics card and the chipset and the processor all in one, I would go Team Blue. I really would. And I'd be moderately happy in my choice. Clifton Murphy, oh sorry, Aletta, yeah, Aletta's got an associate's degree. I don't know what that is, but it sounds good. TMC have no water. Yeah, that is a shocking thing. Like, not for the factory. I couldn't really care less about the factory, to be completely honest with you, but the actual people that are in that region, I do feel very bad for them. Yeah, Blake's saying the same thing. Apparently Taiwan has a freshwater shortage which is restricting the factory's capacity. Yeah, they've got so bad over in Taiwan that from if we are to believe what the media are telling us, which I generally take with large, big, fat, huge grains of salt. Yeah, a salt barrel I throw over my shoulder whilst listening to the media from the mainstream. But from what I can tell, they've actually got to the point where they're actually desalinating ocean water for fresh water, which is pretty bad. Demir says, hey. Hi, Demir. Hayden Trent says, it's nuts how an advanced country can be affected so badly. Unfortunately, no matter how technologically advanced the place you live is, we are all at the mercy of Mother or Father Nature, whichever pronoun you choose to use for said mythical person, being, deity, etc. Yeah, if you get crazy weather, whether you get floods in the UK, whether you get droughts in Taiwan, anything can upset the apple cart, and we all are in this kind of I guess we're all in this really kind of isolated little bubble where we're so used to getting up in the morning, going to the local shops, buying a paper, buying some milk, buying your cereal, buying your dinner for the day, ordering stuff online and it turning up. It only takes a very, very small thing to go wrong and the supply chain to fall apart. And suddenly, those things which you just expect to be there, yeah, you just take it for granted that it's going to be there until the day that it actually isn't. And then everyone looks around and like, oh, shit, we should have really done something about this, or tried to work out some way of limiting this disaster, but we don't. We're just all kind of like, oh, okay. Stick another movie on Netflix. Whoa. And yeah, if more people paid more attention to what's going on in the world, I think we'd be slightly more prepared for these things. But anyway, that's... Hayden says, I'm from Manchester, I don't buy things from shops. It's the 5-finger discount. Mike's Unboxing does not condone the 5-finger discount. If you're in Manchester, say hello to Richie Allen, if you see him. Shout out, "Oi, Baldy, you big Baldy gammon." Mike says hello.
Big Baldy Mike.
Yeah. Shrixon says, I actually think it's a non-binary nature, thank you. Okay. We'll go with that. Darren C says, oh, I don't know if I can say that. Wait until country beginning with C and sounding like Aina invades Taiwan, then we'll be driving around in the Flintstones vehicles.
Electric scooters and that round there.
Yeah, we've already, in the local area known as Bristol, we've already devolved ourselves into using electric scooters. It's, yeah, cars are history now. We're all using electric scooters.
And it was dangerous in time today.
And they are scary. It's going to be, someone's going to get hurt in those really bad.
You've got those lanes and then you've got buses trying to go round these electric scooters.
Oh, God.
They're so cringy.
William Bodie says, now I want to go and buy toilet paper before others do it. Better still, just buy yourself a book.
But
A cheap book. Yeah. Use cash, go to a local bookstore, buy some old second-hand books, and then you got like 300 plus pages to wipe at your disposal. Happy days. Yeah, Aletta puts a finger firmly on the pulse there.
We're still talking toilet now?
Yeah, firmly on the chapter 4. All you need is the mainstream media to say there will be a shortage of something, and stupid people will start hoarding to make the shortage a reality. It is. It happens every single time. They turn around and say, oh, it looks like there's going to be an expected increase in gasoline prices. Ah, quick, get to the garage and fill up everything we own. Quick, take some carrier bags, fill those up with fuel as well. So quickly, everybody, go out there and buy all of the 1 gigabyte GT 1070 graphics cards you can, because they're selling out really fast. Please don't do that.
There's plenty of supply of kittens.
If you are going to do it, make sure you use the affiliate link.
Plenty of supply of kittens.
Yeah, loads of kittens out there, so it's fine. Born Envy says, any plans to do a budget build on the ROG Gaming 2 behind you, or if you would build that, or if you would build, what would you use? Oh, I got you. Brain is gone. That board is destined to go in the Fantex P400A, although actually saying that, is that Micro ATX? Excuse me a second, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to stop saying ladies and gentlemen because it's supposed to be not a thing anymore, is it? Get into trouble for saying that. They've done that to train drivers in the UK. Told them not to say ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, because it offends people. Really? Is this ATX or Micro ATX? Mid-tower, RGB? Doesn't say. Bob, is Bob in the chat? Ask him if it is. It doesn't say on the box.
You can speak to him better.
Bob, help me, Bob. You're my only hope. They put the bloody label over the top of it. Doesn't say. Oh, hang on. Sorry about this. Case type mid-tower. ATX. It takes ATX. Hallelujah. Right. So we will do a budget build. I've decided now. Thank you, Bob. Bless you for that. Yeah, we'll do that this week, definitely. So if I do the unboxing on Monday or tomorrow, because what day is it? What day is it today? Saturday. Of course, live stream. If I do the unboxing tomorrow, film that, I can do this build on Monday or Tuesday. So yes, I will do...
Bob's gone to bed, I reckon.
Hey, Bob has gone to bed. I will do a budget build in the £20 case,
No, he's so nice.
using a £20 PSU, using that motherboard, and the Ryzen 5 3400G. So it'll be a bargain basement, no GPU build, which should actually work out really well because that thing doesn't look like it's got the best of cable management opportunities. So that'll be actually a really clean looking build because there'll be no graphics card. And if I can wire in the power for the motherboard in a discreet way, that would look actually pretty decent. So yes, that's what we'll do. Thank you for suggesting that. Who actually said that? I've forgotten already. Born Envy. Yes, there you go, there's my plans. Clearly laid out. See, none of this is scripted.
iPad is
I haven't got a clue what's going on. Not a clue. Demir says, without a doubt, TSMC is... Oh Christ, I've scrolled. That's it. Oh yeah, there we are. Without a doubt, TSMC is Taiwan's most important industry. It is. Without TSMC, yeah, things are going to go shit-shaped very, very quickly. Hayden Trent, when are you doing an unboxing review on a scooter? Well, funny enough, they've actually just got them in stock into the shop I work in. So they've just got some in. I can't even remember what the brand is. I looked at it and I thought, oh, that's cool. 350 quid though, which seems a little bit on the cheap side for a decent scooter. But if Boss Man will let me, I will do an unboxing and review on it. Ian, if you're watching, cheers, bud.
He won't be watching.
He won't be watching, he'll be
Counting his money.
counting his cash stacks. Bastard. I hope he's not watching this now. So, someone who knows him and knows me will now forward a link to this part of the video where, look, Mike said you're a bastard. Nothing but love.
Wait.
Okay, hang on.
James Miscellaneous.
James Miscellaneous, yes.
B450 AGSA.
Agisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1202 updates. I must pester with this question.
Yes.
I don't get it.
Right, James Miscellaneous. That is, yeah. I'm going to do it. I'm definitely going to do it. I'm going to build that thing, like I just said, to Born Identity or whatever his name was, or her name. Born Envy, that's the one. I'm going to put that in that, do a video, and then after I'll try and brick it with the Agisa update. That's a plan. See, Kath, write this down because I'm going to forget this by the time I finish the stream.
Right. Kieran Atkinson next.
Kieran Atkinson.
I can't.
What is your question, Kieran Atkinson? Kieran Atkinson.
Send that case website for Mike to take a look at on Discord. Don't know if he's mentioned it already, but my web dropped for a few.
Seaman Knight says the P400A is ATX. Thank you. No, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to go cheaper. I've still got to sell that P400A. If anybody wants a P400A for a very good, nice price, Mike's Unboxing, nice price, let me know. I want to get rid of it. It's in the living room and it's pissing me off. It really is. It's a nice case, but not for me. So if you want it, let me know. Sorry, where was the thing? You know, the thing. James Miscellaneous, no. Kieran. Where? I'm trying to find it. I can't see it.
You in live chat or top chat?
I'm in live chat, I think.
You should be in live.
Sorry, bear with.
Use it if you move it.
Right, let's do pop out chat. Oh, that's crashed. That.
Well, I've just read it to you.
I didn't hear it because I was thinking at the same time as you talking.
He sent the website for you to take a look at on Discord. You don't need.
Got you.
To see
Okay,
it.
thank you. Much happiness.
Right.
Right, top chat. Let's change this to all chat. All messages are visible. There we go.
Mr. Handtech, that sounds a cool name.
Mr. Handtech, give me a wave. Do. Make it the.
Because I'm just going to do it.
Ah, dear. Seaman Knight at Mr. Handtech, MSI P550A Pro. Who's on here as Handtech? Is there someone actually on here? There is Mr. Handtech.
Yeah, that's a cool name.
Mr. Handtech. I thought it was someone taking the piss out of Brian. Mr. Handtech. You sure that is someone's trolling? That's Brian, isn't it? You joking? You actually joking me? It is. Mr. Handtech, have you got a London accent and do you drive a Mercedes AMG? I bet you do. Hey Mike, join the Discord, love your channel, thank you very much. I bought the B450F Gaming 2, it's fantastic for 90 quid. Best cheap B450 recommendation for a budget build. Yeah, actually I would agree with Mr. Knight there. The MSI B550A-Pro is a good choice. If you want a smaller version, you've got the Pro VDH Wi-Fi. That's also a pretty decent shout. What else would there be? B550 budget range decent. That's quite a tough one because the B550 range, there seems to be quite a large gap between the kind of the cheaper end, like the DS3Hs from Gigabyte and that kind of thing, and then jumping up to the kind of what I would class more mainstream stroke enthusiast boards. So yeah, the Pro-A I think actually probably is going to get my vote. Ugly Bob, don't use all the toilet paper. Monday it's going to be all sold out. Very true. What else is there? Have I learned? I've missed something else. What do you think? This is from Dovla123. What do you think of Gigabyte B550M DS3H? Well, that's ironic that we kind of just said that. The DS3H is... It's difficult to really put it into a classification. For me personally, I think the B550M DS3H is effectively what I would consider to be an OEM board. So that is the sort of motherboard that a lot of OEMs are going to use in system builds to give you still a little bit of flexibility and overclocking and some reasonable features, but without going too overboard. I'm pretty sure the DS3H B550 doesn't have addressable RGB on it, or even possibly even regular RGB. I could be wrong on that. So for some people, that is going to be a definite no-no to begin with. It is basically, it's a no-frills board. It's got a moderately good VRM. I'm thinking it's a 4+3 phase VRM. So it's going to be fine. It'll run processors at their rated speeds. Precision boost overclock, on some you may struggle to get sustained boost speeds. And for enthusiast level overclocking or all-core overclock, it's going to come to a relatively quick and sticky end, unfortunately. In terms of pricing, not bad pricing, and it gets the job done. It's low in frills. It's a functional board. Yes, Kath?
Aletta asks, could you what motherboard do you think would be good for a Ryzen 3200G?
What board would I say would... the 3200G works pretty much on anything. It really does. The last 3200G build I did, I'm trying desperately to think what board I used on it now. It was in the... Oh, what was the Game Max case with a solid glass front on it? I'm trying to think what it was called now. The reflective front, which is like the infinity mirror. Can't think what it's called now. I'm pretty sure. I think I used just a cheap B450 in that, and it was absolutely fine. Given the choice, if you want to do a little bit of overclocking on it, I would probably... Depends if you want to keep it on a budget. If you want to keep it on a budget, then probably that actually, the B450F Gaming 2. It's got all the features on there, and of course if you wanted to, then you could upgrade it to something better in the future. It's fully compatible with the 3200G and the 3400G, and it will take 5000 series processors if you wanted to at a later date. So yeah, you can pick up one of those now for around about £80, £85. I don't know whether that's going to be a little bit too much than what you want to spend. Excuse me. It's got HDMI and DisplayPort on the back, both of which support 4K 60Hz. Although I think, is it that one that, yeah, it does support, yeah, 4K 60 Hz. So for that sort of processor, it's going to be fine. Realistically, a 3200G, you shouldn't be using 4K anyway, really. But it would do it. So yeah, I don't know if that's answered your question or not.
Rizzo plays, what is the problem with my PC when I play Valorant? It's going to shut down after a minute. Please help. And do in Dota 2 and Fortnite, please. I really need help. Discord.
Yeah, Discord for that one, I think. Sorry, that was quite a technical question. Seema Knight, MSI B550M mortar or bazooka? Now, I always get these two confused. Which one of those is the Micro ATX? Or are they both? I'm losing track now. I think the mortar is the Micro ATX version of the Tomahawk with exactly the same VRM. And I think, actually, I'm going to have a look. Sorry. Where are we?
Abyss, that was it.
The Game Max Abyss, that was the one. It has literally gone to the Abyss. So, where are we? B450 VRM sheet.
Simon.
Thank you, Simon. So, where are we? B450, B550. So, mortar and bazooka. That's how we say it in Bristol. Here, mate, got one of them bazooka boards.
And what flavour milkshake do I have?
Banana. Got a banana milkshake. Oh, what's going on? My mouse is scrolling like it's possessed.
That's just your fingers.
It might be. You're not wrong. Ah, there we are. So B4. Right, so mortar versus bazooka. So the mortar is the better board. Yeah. Yeah, the mortar is essentially the Micro ATX version of the Tomahawk. Although it does lose out on 2 of the phases in the parallel output on the MOSFETs. But I'm thinking mortar, yeah, the bazooka, the B550M bazooka is effectively the Pro-A in a Micro ATX form, and the mortar is kind of yeah, the mortar is the Tomahawk kind of, or it's closer to the Tomahawk than any of the others. Same as the mortar Wi-Fi. So yeah, choice between mortar and the bazooka, I would go with the mortar. Although saying that, it depends on the price and what you're putting on it. I think, I'm not sure, but I reckon, oh God, what's going on? Don't switch. Discord's gone berserk.
Shazam and Ali, can you do next?
Yeah, okay. Hopefully, something like that has answered your question. Possibly. It's things like that between mortar and bazooka. It's like you save probably. I'm looking at American pricing here, but the mortar is about $30 more. So $30 in pounds is about 17, 18 pounds. So for 18 pounds more, you do get a much better VRM, and also the mortar uses the Renesas or ISIL Semiconductors MOSFETs rather than the older on-semis, which is what was mostly used in the B450 boards. So yeah, the B450 bazooka is kind of just a revamped B450, whereas the mortar is more in keeping with the rest of the B550 range from MSI, which are generally very good. Yeah, I answered a question, I think. I always get those two confused, mortar and bazooka. Don't know why, because a mortar is not like a bazooka. Richard says, Mike, what selection of GPUs do you currently own? To be honest with you, I don't have a lot of GPUs. I've got well, consider how many PCs there are in the house. We've got 4 people living here, all of which have got PCs. So I think mine, I've got a 5700 XT in my PC. The one behind me has got a 2060. Caps has got a 480. George has got a 1080. And then I've got a spare RX 460. I've got the GTX 660, And is there something else as well somewhere? I think that's it. So I haven't really, well, I've got the EVGA thing somewhere, the 9600 GT from yesteryear, but I've not really got many graphics cards at all, comparatively. Which I think is actually a good thing, because there's so many people out there that need them, and I don't really need them. So if I want to replace something, I'll replace it, but then I'll sell something to put something back out there into the market. So there we go. Shazan Ali says, hello sir, how are you? Good, I think. Reading Waldo's question, thank you. Mr. Handtech, I love that name. Okay, Mike, I considered the VDH. People said it was ugly, lol. I mean, now my B450 build's turning out to be beast. I might just whack in the B450 in the budget build for Facebook. Sounds like a plan. Dutch Jan says MSI B550 A-Pro, Ryzen 5 5600X, Power Color RX 5700 XT. That's a pretty decent combination there. Lots of fives, isn't it? So I did that Aletta's question. That's worked. Seamanite, sorry. Yeah, that was a recommendation for the Micro ATX B550 question before. I'm always a little bit hesitant with recommending the 550 chipset for anything with integrated graphics. I know in my heart of hearts they work in most circumstances, but there's always the issue because of the way that the PCI Express lanes are shared, because obviously you've got onboard graphics, so that takes some, and then you've got the PCI Express lane split to 8 times for the main slot, etc. And then sometimes, depending how the chipset's wired, you may not get some USBs on the back, or you might lose an M.2 drive. So I'm often a little bit hesitant in recommending that in general. Loads of people have had very positive responses and systems, and they've had no issues at all. But on the flip side, there's been a few people where they've said they've had issues. So to err on the side of caution, I would probably go with a B450. Maybe even an X470, if you can pick one up cheap enough. The Ordinary Dude, I used a 3400G for quite a while with my 4K 40-inch screen. Worked fine for most things, thought it was not, although I was not gaming at all. Yeah, I think for YouTube and all that kind of stuff, onboard graphics is fine. The 3400G, I think, is probably the most powerful GPU, or APU GPU, that there is. Because it's the 11 Vega cores against 10, I think, in the 4650. But then you've got clock speed differences, so yeah, swings and roundabouts. Although saying that, when people talk about frequency, when you're talking about graphics, more cores is always better, because frequency can only take you so far in that bandwidth pipeline, and especially when you're sending a lot of information through, you want as many shaders as possible working in simultaneously. If they're working really fast, that's great, but they're still going to be limited on how much data can be handled. So in terms of resolution and picture quality, you're going to struggle. Anyway, there we go. Enclosure 1440p says got a 470X Gaming Pro Carbon, temperatures 50C on the VRMs. It's pretty good. Yeah, most VRMs can get up to kind of 100 degrees C before you got to start worrying about them. So half of that is, yeah, definitely good. Oh, here's a good one. William Bodie says, if a person has a PC, what else can be upgraded to really make it better? Not a CPU and not a GPU.
Cat?
Yeah, a cat is good.
Okay.
Really, it comes down to only 2 things you can essentially do. One of which is going to be memory, the other is going to be your SSD. So you can swap out an SSD, which will give you certainly, well, if you're using part SSD, part hard disk drive, and you maybe got your Steam games or other stuff on a hard drive, Removing that from the system and putting an SSD in there is definitely a noticeable thing. You get the reduction in noise, which is always good. You get much faster access to Windows Explorer. Probably, well, some of you may have experienced this. I definitely did, especially because my video editing stuff used to be on a mechanical drive. I'd click on my computer and there'd always be that very slight buffering where you could hear the hard drive spinning up and it was trying to read it quickly, where it had either gone to sleep or just couldn't access it. Whereas with an SSD or an Nvme, you don't really get that. You just click on my computer and it's all just there. And searching for things, when you're looking for thumbnails in files, folder structures, that sort of stuff, it definitely makes the PC more snappy. Adding more RAM is always a good choice. If you're on 8 gigs, you should be on 16. If you're on 16, you should be on 32.
Paint it pink and put RGB in it.
Yeah, paint it pink and put RGB in also will make it considerably faster.
Ugly Bob.
Thanks, Ugly Bob. See you later, Richard. Ricardo, rather, sorry.
Oh, bye, Ricardo.
Darren C. Yeah. William would be RAM and SSD. Yeah, there's not really a great deal. SSDs do improve PC performance a lot more than people give it credit for, I think. Adam says, when do you think 3200G and 3400G will come back into stock? As far as I know, there isn't any issues with stock here in the UK at the moment. I think stock is actually okay. It's just the pricing is not brilliant. Richard says, Mike, do you still not have the 1030 from the thumbnail, or did that go in a PC? I know, sorry. Yes. I did have that one also. I forgot about that one. Yeah, it's still in the box. It's still dust and cat hair free for now.
Get out, maybe.
Yeah, sorry, I did miss that one out. How did I miss that? God, this chair is so uncomfortable. It is ridiculous. Matthew Barton says, hi guys, what decent airflow micro ATX case would you recommend? Decent airflow micro ATX. I think probably the GameMax Kamikaze is always one that I've always kind of looked towards quite fondly. That's got a decent amount of airflow. There are the Techware Forge. Is it the Forge? Is the Forge, isn't it? Techware Forge RGB, that's quite a decent one. It's got some decent airflow to it. Possibly also worth looking at the ones over on eBuyer. The Fusion Labs cases, they generally are all pretty heavily airflow dependent. Well, not dependent, but oh yeah, Citadel Mesh, Colink Citadel, that is also pretty decent. Yeah, actually, the Colink Citadel is probably one which kind of is up there. Stuart Cleary, hello Stuart, how are you? I think this tech part shortage is a good thing because it makes people appreciate what they have and reduces waste. Yeah, I think actually that's a fair comment. Anything that can reduce e-waste is always a good thing. I try wherever possible, even if it's old stuff, I'll either keep hold of it or I will try and recycle it or sell it on to someone in the chat or Facebook Marketplace or something, because I hate chucking stuff in the bin unnecessarily. So much so that when my Boya mic broken the other day, I actually took the battery out, I took the clip off the microphone and I took the little foam pop shield off the top and kept that. Even the bag that the mic came in, I kept it, even though the new one came with all that stuff. I kept all that and just threw away the wire, which I probably could have taken the plastic coating off, put the plastic in the plastic recycling, and the copper wire could have been scrapped, but that was a little bit too much.
But we know man who would.
Super Knight says, sorry, the B550 was for Handtech. I love that name. I really do love that name. Not Aletta, where I recommended the ASRock B450 Pro 4. Yeah, actually, that's another good one. I've completely forgotten about that. That's actually what Kath's still using in her PC now, the B450 Pro 4 from ASRock, which actually has stood the test of time. Considering it was a budget board, I think we only paid about £60 when they almost came out on that one. They did drop in price quite quickly, from about 80 down to 60 quite quick.
And it's good at coping with all those tabs.
And Kath has currently got about 15 million tabs open, which is good.
And I got quite as many as last week, I think.
Simon Arden's in the house as well, and he says, GameMax Kamikaze Pro, good stuff. I didn't notice it. You know me. Yeah, Mark Berry says, Colink Citadel Mesh is RGB is a good case. Yeah, I do like that actually. I quite miss that one. Born MV, so Mike, ROG Gaming 2, Ryzen 7 3700X and Radeon 570 good for gaming. Well, the 570 is not good for gaming in general, but in the current scheme of things as they stand at the moment, it's actually not bad. If you look back at some of our older videos, excuse me, sorry, I have to have a drink. Yeah, if you look back at some of our older videos, I did the RX 570, the Gigabyte one, the Aorus, I think it was, Aorus Gaming, and that played, what's the game? Flight Sim 2020 and Far Cry, stuff like that. It wasn't brilliant, but it definitely got the job done, and at the moment when there's essentially nothing else really on the market, it's not a bad choice. It's not a great choice, but it's a good choice. The system itself, the ROG Gaming 2, Ryzen 7 3700, absolutely fine. My thing is, if you're saying that's for gaming, are you gaming and trying to stream? Because if you are, that's going to hit a bottleneck pretty hard. If you're gaming as well, possibly consider the Ryzen 5 3600 and maybe save a little bit of money, wait for graphics cards to improve. I don't know. It is a tough call. Oh, yeah, the Silverstone Farah H1M, that's another good shout as well. A little bit more pricey, but definitely worth a look. I did like the Silverstone Farah, actually. That was a nice little case. Ordinary Dude says, only Gigabyte officially supports Picasso Core APUs on B550. Not sure how they allocate the PCI Express lanes, though. I'm sure that ITX boards are fine, as well as most of the micro ATX. Mr. Hantex says, thanks to Seam at Night, and also Mike is right, more cores is better. It's that actually, that language even sounds like Brian. It's Brian. It's Brian. We're being trolled, Kath. Brian, love you. All right. Simon Arden, 3200G, 260 quid with a CIT beam case, 8 gigs of RAM, 240 gig SSD, builder PSU, hot UK deals. 260 quid for a system like that is pretty banging. CEX has the 3200G for £100. Bloody hell. And the 2200G for around 70 to 80.
You know now, don't you?
Jesus. And we've got a super chat coming from Stuart Cleary, €10. Saturday night joke. How to speak with an Irish accent. Say, whale, all, beef, hooked. Say that quicker. I'm not, because I'll instantly get demonetized. Stuart, you bastard. You absolute bastard. I can say bastard, that's right, because that is another thing.
Do Birmingham, can't you? Cup of tea in Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham, if you want to say cup of tea, you have to say kipper tie. Kipper tie.
Love Birmingham.
Waldo135 says, what can you do to what can you do an old HDD that you don't want and you don't have a PC? You could set up a very cost-effective NAS, like some sort of network attached storage. Put the USB drive, put the hard disk drive into some form of caddy, 3.5 inch caddy. Use it as some form of external storage for your smart TV, possibly, or your Skybox satellite TV. Other than that, not really a great deal you can do with them, I guess. But for storage for PVRs, that sort of thing, good use for them, if it's a quiet one. Scalper's already out on the HP 5700G, up to around $900 US. Hollow Full 5 Hi Mike, how much does an RX 570 8GB usually sell for on eBay? At the moment, I wouldn't even hazard a guess. Prior to the thing, I would say probably somewhere in the region of about 120 to 150 for a good quality, a decent one. The 8 gigs always fetched a little bit more money, and we're very close to the 580 in price. The 580s, you might be a little bit less than that. So yeah, say 80 to 150. You did get some bizarre deals, whereas the 580s normally didn't drop below 100 and went up to about 170. Yes, Kath?
Have you seen the new 5600X stroke 3060 for $995?
Who's asking that?
Simon Arden.
I did see it, I think posted somewhere. I think CM Knight posted it in the deal section earlier. Good deal for that. That did seem to be pretty decent if you're after a fully built system, which I guess most of us are going to have to these days. Ordinary Dude, Micro ATX with good airflow. Sama IM01 is very similar to the Cooler Master NR200, but with one additional PCI slot and Micro ATX mounts. Yeah, that was. I think you sent me some pictures of that, didn't you? Oh God, my legs are killing. Sorry. Oh my God, gonna fall over. Born Envy, thanks Mike. Can't wait for the next upload. Enjoy, guys. Thank you very much, Born Envy. Thanks for joining us.
Is that a buy? I'm not sure.
Hayden Trent, buy a E5800 for your hard disk drive. That sounds good.
ABX. My SIT flash AR. GH.
Yeah, ABX. My CIT flash ARGB case has scratches on the USB 2 port. Would it still? Sorry, USB 3 port. Would it still work? It depends what scratches you mean. As long as the actual physical plug isn't damaged and the cables aren't damaged, then there's no reason why it wouldn't do. Cosmetic scratches on anything shouldn't cause it to not work, unless the scratches have become tears or cuts, in which case then potentially it could change that. Waldo135 says, I feel like getting a hammer and breaking the hard disk drive and then recycling it to PC raw curries. Okay. FA says, hey, what is the best screensaver to avoid? Avoid? That's a New York there. Hey, what is the best screensaver to avoid screen burn? Have a nice day. I actually quite like the Windows. I think that's called. Actually, I don't even know what that one's called. That's a Windows built-in one, and it seems to do the job. Doesn't cause any screen burn that I'm aware of. There's a constantly moving image. The rest of it's black, so that is a pretty good built-in one. You can, if you want to, go over to Steam and do the Screensaver engine, I think it's called. There's various options there. Ideally, if you want to avoid screen burn, then choose a screensaver which has basically a lot of black. So at any time where the lights don't have to be on, that's going to help. And obviously some movement as well. Anything static on the screen is going to burn eventually.
Stuart Cleary was born in Bournemouth.
Oh, all right. Irie Wolfman says, I still have to sell my old water cooling stuff. I have 4 pumps and piping under my stairs with other PC stuff. Just too lazy to take pics. Need to box properly. I need to buy some water cooling stuff, so I might be able to help you out there. Send me some pictures on Discord. I might take it off your hands. Aletta says, I see a couple of RX 6700 XTs on Amazon under $1,200. That's a bit of a price drop from last month. Let's hope and pray that there is going to be a dip and prices are going to normalise a little bit.
Maybe.
I don't know if they will. Sometimes it might just be luck of the draw. It would be so nice to see some decent price drops, it really would. Quad Zero 8404 says, I just picked up the MSI Meg B550 Unify, the 5600X, the Trident 16 gig, 3200 MHz CL16, and keep on getting a 0D code and a black screen. Any ideas as to what that could be? I'm not sure what 0D is actually. If you look in the manual, it does break down what the codes are. At the moment I can't remember off the top of my head. It's gonna be... what graphics card are you using? You didn't say which graphics card you're using. Because it could be... OD. I can't think what OD is. I haven't got a clue actually. Certainly you're more than welcome to go over to Discord and we can chat about it in greater depth there, ask you more questions, do some fault finding, that sort of stuff.
BIOS is good and it runs with my old Corsair RAM, but I upgraded the RAM to the Trident and it won't work at all.
Oh, is that, right, I got you. It could be you need to retrain the RAM, so it might be worth resetting the BIOS, or maybe just try with one stick in slot number 2. That might be worth a shot. Matthew Day says the best screensaver is power save. Yeah, actually, that is a pretty good shout. Although, for some reason, I don't know if it's just me. I think Kath's PC's...
Yeah, it's mine as well.
Has anybody else done the recent AMD chipset drivers on their PC and found that your PC is now shutting down much quicker? It seems to have redone the power profile.
It shuts down by the time you boil the kettle.
So, yeah, my PC will shut down probably in about... Well, I'll turn the screen off in 10 minutes and the RGBs will turn off as well. After 30 minutes, the PC's off and I have to physically press the power button to turn it back on, which is a little bit annoying. Hey, yeah.
Nobody's got time for that.
Yeah, I ain't got time for that. Shit. What's the matter with it? Yeah, Quad Zero. Yeah, BIOS is good. It runs on my old Corsair RAM. Okay, yes, probably just needs memory training, or I would say just try one individual stick at a time and see if you get any joy out of that. Resetting the BIOS might be worth doing to retrain the RAM. Hugh says, have you ever heard of getting drivers for Nvme drive? No, not really. They should be baked in already. They are part of the AMD or Intel chipset drivers. So Intel chipset drivers, well, within Windows, Nvme is seen as, I'm pretty sure, a standard AHCI device, much as it would for a SATA drive or anything. Because Nvme is just effectively the interface. You could have Nvme in various different guises, directly compatible, directly connected to the processor or via chipset. So they all kind of use that same AHCI driver in Windows. So yeah, unless you're using it as some form of RAID or something, but generally your chipset drivers should fix all that.
Matthew Day's doing the codes for you.
Alright. OC to OD. Reserved for future AMI SEC error codes. That's handy. Darren C. Yes, Hugh Lateral, my Samsung... Oh, yes, Samsung NVMe drives. They have some clever kind of software level driver which speeds up the transfer speed. So even though it's only rated to maybe 5 gigabits per second, with the software it kind of buffers it. So you can get some crazy speeds, I think like 9 gigabits per second or 9 gigabytes per second. So yeah, there kind of is a driver which links the Samsung software to the NVMe drive. Almost like how, what was that AMD technology? Store MI. Kind of how that works.
No, best case is under £50 with good airflow, low noise.
Best case under £50 with good airflow, low noise would be definitely the Neutron Labs W07 or the Neutron Labs Galaxy, I'm not sure, 05 I think it is, which is basically the GameMax F15M or Lian Li 215 equivalent, both from ebuyer.com. Not affiliated, not sponsored, just good case. Quad Zero, yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe hit us up on Discord and we'll have a look, see what's going on with that. Does seem unusual. Waldo135 says Colink Sistel Mesh RGB case from Micro ATX. Yes, another Citadel fan. We love that. Ugly Bob says Fantex P300. Yeah, it's not. I think the P360X is about that price as well now. Hayden Trent says no case is best for airflow.
Remember when you built that one on the side of my?
I did actually build one on the side of a chest of drawers, which
lasted about half an hour.
Yeah, I didn't like the look of that at all. It was not very. I would say wasn't very wife friendly, but it didn't even get to the point of that. It wasn't mic friendly. I just did not like the look of it. It's too many bits and pieces. I might have another go at that. Darren C says, I could not have put it better myself. Thanks, Mike. Not a problem. Oh, that's to do with the Samsung drives. Yes, it is. I wonder what it was. Yeah, I thought it was about that. I wasn't too sure if it was that or the case. Good stuff. Right, I think that is pretty much going to be it for tonight. I think it's. I just look at the time now. It's 20 past 11. Let's have a look. Is there any last questions? Any last desperate questions we can get in before we call this a day? So Andrew Michal, sorry, I know it's maybe not related, but I want to know your opinion. Could the B450 Tomahawk Max run 4650G? Thank you so much for the beautiful content and the effort you made. Thank you. That's very kind of you. I don't know is the honest answer. The Tomahawk Max 4650G. In theory, it should be able to, because the Tomahawk Max is 3000 series compatible. The 4650G is basically a 3600 kind of. No, a 3500, I guess. So in theory, it should do. I've not actually tried it, and I've not checked the BIOS compatibility, whether or not it will be in there, because the 4650 is technically an OEM chip, so it might not be in there. Ugly Bob says the Aerocool split might be a good case. Yeah, actually it might well be. We'll find out. We will find out very soon, this week in fact. Yeah, 4650G, I think it probably will be fine on a B450. But I'm not 100%, if I'm completely honest. Logan Gardner says, all I have to say about the stock situation is bite the bullet and buy the pre-built. I did. It enabled me to upgrade mine and my daughter's PC, and all the hardware problems are 100% fixed now. Well, there's a good story, happy story. School is a good thing. Hugh Luttrell, how long have you had your YouTube channel? 4 years, is it now?
January 2017.
Yeah, January 2017, so yeah, 4 and a bit years. Seems like longer.
Not low, is it? 18, 19, 20. Yeah, it is.
Done that one. Oh, Andrew McCall, done that one. Matthew Day unboxing. Oh yeah, we were going to do that unboxing, weren't we? Should we? I've actually left it a bit too late now. I don't think I've got the mental capacity to unbox the case without smashing it. Maybe we might do a. Yeah, because I haven't got to work tomorrow, have I? So I could do an impromptu unboxing live of that case, couldn't I? That might work. Might do that tomorrow then. Might do a might do an additional stream tomorrow as a quick one. My Wolfman, I think that is, yeah, I think that is I think that's pretty much it. Yes, I think we'll wrap that one up now. My legs are absolutely killing. I've been stood on my feet all day today, and I haven't done that for ages, and it's like 8 hours stood on my feet. My legs are absolutely killing. Hugh Luttrell says, I've watched a video of you assembling a chair from 2018. That sounds about right. Sky Stalkers, 20 Canadian dollars. Thanks for the great stream, Kath, Mike. Always a pleasure. Be safe. Thank you very much, and hopefully you're feeling better, mate. Thank you very much for the super chat.
Somebody loves super chats, right?
Mo, hi Mike, sorry to bother you. That's fine, that's what I'm here for. That's my job, to be bothered. But you mentioned the Neutron Lab W07 and what other? The Neutron Lab, it's another one from Neutron Labs. I'm sure it's called the Galaxy. It might be the 0.05 or 0.3. It basically, if you look at it, you'll go, oh, that's a GameMax F15 or a Lian Li 215. It just looks like one. It's got two massive 200mm fans in the front. It's a nice looking case actually. I'm tempted to get one, even though I've got basically the same there. But I might do that. Anyway, yeah, let's wrap things up there. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Please, if you can, leave a like on the video and all that kind of YouTube stuff. And comment. Comments are good for the algorithm and it's very helpful. So even if you've been here and you comment in, just write some rubbish in the chat below. I'll answer it anyway, because we answer pretty much most of the questions we can. Yeah, that is it. Thank you all for... I know it's not been a particularly interesting stream, but it's one of those things, there's not really a lot we can talk about these days. It's mostly doom and gloom. I'm trying to put a bit of a spin on it where possible, but it's becoming more and more difficult every single day. But thank you all so much for joining us. Hopefully you like the new music. If you like the music, let us know in the comments when this video goes to video on demand. Tell us what you think of the intro music, and if you're not too sure and you can't remember what it sounds like, watch the intro for a couple of minutes and give us an honest opinion. Yes, I think that's it. So I think that is going to leave it with, yes, I'm Mike. This is my unboxing.
As per usual.
There's a blooper. I've started adding some more bloopers into videos now, so you have to watch them to the very end. Let's try that again. So, I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. Ta-da!